I feel humbled to appear before of you as Commissioner Designate for Enlargement. I'm grateful for this opportunity to be able to present to you my vision, how I would, if confirmed, boost EU enlargement and neighbourhood policy with concrete and effective actions. Širitev Evropske unije je kot rdeča nit mojega življenja.
The EU enlargement runs like a red thread through my life. As Slovenia was moving towards independence, I was part of the young generation calling for freedom and democracy. The path to the EU was the way to go. Remembering these times, even today, I feel the incredible collective positive energy which emerged out of this historical momentum. If confirmed, I would like to inject the same focus and energy in the enlargement process ahead of us. I have spent most of my career working on European affairs and foreign policy, so I believe I'll be able to perform this role well. Working as a journalist and a foreign correspondent gave me a unique perspective on the importance of communication and public diplomacy in shaping public opinion. As Slovenian ambassador to Germany, Latvia, Switzerland and Liechtenstein, I gained direct experience of European politics and diplomacy. In these roles, I saw an opportunity to help weave our shared European fabric a little tighter and stronger. And even today, I still feel the same sense of purpose and deep commitment. Honourable members, we're living through a time of profound change. The global balance of power is shifting rapidly, which challenges our democratic values and institutions. Authoritarian regimes want the EU to fail. Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine is a stark reminder of the EU's essential role, not only in encouraging economic and social progress, but also as a crucial safeguard against the tyranny and promoters of peace. Ukraine is fighting to defend its territorial integrity and to uphold the European values, standing against the forces of brute power. It is our moral duty to be the strongest possible partner and ally of the people of Ukraine. The European accession perspective embodies this commitment in the strongest way possible. For me, supporting Ukraine and pushing back against Russia's aggression is an absolute priority, politically, economically, financially, using our entire EU toolbox.
There
is a strategic imperative to act in our own interests. A more integrated union will give us a louder voice when it comes to international and European affairs. Such a union means more social and economic progress for European citizens in existing member states and in future member states too. That means we need to have a stable, more secure and more resistant union in the face of an increasingly turbulent world. If you entrust me with this role, then I will do everything in my power to ensure that future member states are well prepared for this enlargement, because it's clear to me EU enlargement is a marathon, not a sprint. I will ensure that the EU accession process continues to be the way forward for enlargement. We should only accept new member states if they are actively subscribing to our values, democracy, value and rule of law. In order to achieve this, I will use all available means and work with all members of the College in order to ensure that the whole Commission is working together, pulling in the same direction. My uppermost goal will be to ensure that our enlargement partners are accompanied on their way to EU membership. According to our new enlargement methodology, I will ensure that the accession progress is predictable and credible, and there will be strong political guidance as part of that process. I will ensure that all negotiations are transparent, inclusive and fair, so that enlargement or accession candidates make progress on their path towards EU membership. On the other hand, though, I expect something from the candidates. They must be strategic and European in their commitment, and they must show that they are even more credible, even if that is tested, because we live in a time of multipolarity.
I will ensure that, first, the path to joining the EU remains fully merit-based. Each candidate country will be assessed on its own individual progress. I'm all for ambition, but there can be no shortcuts, and I will never compromise quality over speed. Second, the political commitments, especially in critical areas such as justice reform, judicial independence and fight against corruption. I will not hesitate to propose corrective measures in case of serious or prolonged stagnation or backsliding, as our process is also based on reversibility. Third, the more for more principle will be upheld. Those who do to undertake the necessary reforms should reap the benefits of their efforts and move towards accession, and we can facilitate the gradual integration of our partners into key sectors of the EU single market. The annual enlargement package will remain the primary tool for evaluating reforms across the fundamentals and all negotiation chapters, and for making recommendations against which further progress is measured. And I promise I will present and discuss it with you, honourable members of the Parliament, immediately after the adoption by the College and before informing the media. My objective will be to work closely with Kiev on scheduled reforms while maintaining momentum in the accession negotiations and supporting recovery and in construction in coordination with the G7 and other like-minded partners. Our economic, military and political support is not helping only Ukrainians, but is defending Europe as a continent and even more. It is protecting the global world order based on international law and multilateralism. If confirmed, I will ensure that the enlargement negotiations remain the European guiding star for this heroic nation. The same must, of course, apply to our friends in Moldova. I also intend to ensure that the Ukraine facility worth €50 billion, the reform and growth facility to Western Balkans, €6 billion, once adopted, the recently proposed growth plan for Moldova, worth €1.8 billion, are all effectively and consistently implemented. With existing financial instruments, we can facilitate the gradual integration of our partners into key sectors of the single market. This approach will also pave the way for smoother integration into our shared policies and practices and enable us to better manage irregular migration. At the same time, I am aware of the expectations of this House about the sustained reforms and political commitments to EU membership on the part of enlargement countries. In case of stagnation or backsliding, we can react. I want to see tangible results in the enlargement process in the Western Balkans. Let us turn this opportunity into reality under the principles I set out above. Reconciliation and regional cooperation are essential elements of the enlargement process to the Western Balkans. If confirmed, I will engage more in addressing bilateral issues and facilitating solutions. They must not become permanent obstacles on the road to Brussels. I know I will always find an ally in this House when tackling these issues. I acknowledge that the United Nations-led process for finding a solution to the Cyprus issue based upon the relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions is the right way to bring peace to this divided island 50 years after the invasion. This will also determine the pace of the future EU-Turkey relationship. I will continue to engage with Turkey, which is a candidate country and a key partner for the EU. In doing this, it is essential to understand that the cooperation cannot be simply a matter of economic alignment or geographical proximity. Just like the House, I will always defend human rights, democracy, fundamental freedoms and the rule of law, and remind the enlargement countries that our principles are not non-negotiable. I will also ensure that the enlargement policy is closely aligned with our neighbourhood policy. This includes taking a fresh look at the design and tools of the Eastern Partnership with a renewed focus on connectivity in and with the Southern Caucasus and Black Sea towards Central Asia. This is increasingly important for Europe's security and competitiveness because these regions are subject to the same geopolitical forces that tear at our European project. In doing so, I will work closely with the High Representative Vice President on the Black Sea strategy, while also supporting efforts to foster peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Honourable members, at the heart of these efforts must be our sustained engagement with civil society. I strongly believe in the power of civil society to hold leaders accountable. If confirmed, I will apply a zero-tolerance policy to all actions against civil society organisations, human rights defenders and journalists. I intend to meet with their representatives whenever possible during my visits, because democracy is not just built in the parliaments, in the courts, it is built in communities, in homes, and in the hearts of everyday citizens. Whether they live in Galicia, in Lapland, in Apulia, at the shore of the Masurian lakes, in Slavonia, or in Hessen, our citizens might have different perspectives and concerns on enlargement. If confirmed as Commissioner, I will listen to them, including the specific concerns and aspirations of young people, and this will help me to shape a detailed communication strategy. We need to actively communicate what we do and why enlargement is so good for Europe. Likewise, active communication in the enlargement countries is an integral part of gathering support and understanding for what European membership means. This is a priority for my mandate. Honourable members, President von der Leyen has rightly said that the enlargement should be a catalyst for progress on the EU reforms. Together with my colleagues, I will engage in the pre-enlargement policy reviews to help identify gaps and needs, including in the areas under my responsibility. I am committed to advancing efforts to strengthen interinstitutional cooperation between the Commission and European Parliament. Honourable Chair, honourable members, since the day I became Commissioner designate and after many meetings with you, I feel motivated, energised and passionate about what we can all achieve in the enlargement process in the next 5 years. Today, in front of you, I commit to walk the talk about the European values. I commit to consider and support with equal care all enlargement partners that share an EU perspective. I commit to teamwork, and I mean with teamwork not only the college but also with the European Parliament and especially with you, members of the Committee on Foreign Affairs. If confirmed, I will listen to you and take your views into account and explore how we can reinforce each other in our efforts to take forward the EU priorities. I, for my part, will be available for regular discussions and exchanges of views in the enlargement countries and our neighbourhood. Furthermore, I encourage all of us to communicate the benefits of EU enlargement more effectively, and I warmly welcome you to join me in visiting enlargement countries. During her first speech as the President of the European Parliament in 1979, Simone Weil stated, "All the community members are faced with 3 great challenges: the challenge of peace, the challenge of freedom, and the challenge of prosperity, and it seems clear that they only can be met through the European dimension. I believe that the vision expressed by Simone Weil 45 years ago holds true today as we are working on the next enlargement. Enlargement today is again a historical opportunity to achieve peace, freedom, and prosperity on the whole European continent. This is what the European project is and has always been about, and today more than ever. Thank you. Thank you.